Homegoods has shut down its e-commerce site. According to Business Insider, the discount home decor chain, which is owned by TJX Companies, sent an email to customers announcing that it would stop offering online shopping after October 21st. Quote, "We've made the decision to focus our resources on our brick and mortar stores," end quote, the email message said, while adding that it would also be announcing, quote, "many new store openings," end quote. TJX also reported this past August that net sales from e-commerce were less than 2% of total sales in its most recent quarter. David, we're going to you first on this one. Bold move from HomeGoods. What do you think? Do you agree with it?
I'm a fan of it.
Yes.
I am. There's that concept of everyone needs to be omni-channel, but I actually think this fits within their core competency. If you think about Home Goods, they're all about holiday and or seasonality and surprise and delight. And so when you go in there, it's almost like an adventure, and they have what I'm calling an awkward but very curated assortment. They know their core consumer. They know what their purpose is. And I think when you think about online, it's much more intentional, and you're there for a specific need. And I don't think they can compete with other competitors, whether that is Etsy, Amazon, Target, and the Walmart and the other beast. So, I don't know their P&L, but if it's 2% and they're probably putting a lot of investment in there, they got to be, maybe break even if they're lucky. And so I think from a core competency, a financial aspect, it really makes sense, and they can have a singular vision and really drive in-store experience and curation. So I'm a fan of it, and it fits within the TJX model if you think about that with the rest of the portfolio.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I think I remember when we first covered this story when they were going online. I remember thinking this sounds amazing, but it's a huge feat when you have single products that you're trying to get, eyes on or trying to have visibility to in store, and then to be able to promise to that customer that's very loyal to you. But Chris, you agreed with
I do.
David.
Resolutely.
Yeah.
And I think on that show too, if I remember right, we said there were a lot of watch outs we called out because you're right. Like the onesie and twosie thing, I actually think it's impossible to do this business online the way TJX does it. I would go so far as to say it's impossible. Like you have onesie and twosie items that you're trying to sell online. So there's no way you can be profitable, because the whole idea of e-commerce is you're picking out of one warehouse a lot of units. You're trying to move through a lot of units, or you're doing the marketplace approach where Amazon is taking advantage of the people trying to do that. Right.
Yeah.
And then don't even get me started on which is probably what precipitated this was the omni-channel idea of buy online, pick up in store, curbside. Yeah. That's impossible in these stores. Like the data accuracy that's going to be needed to make that happen is just it's not going to work. And so
as it stands right now.
Yeah. Right. And so they have to give it up. So, but my point in this though, is TJX has got to be really careful, because Amazon, I think, is going to be gunning for this very soon. They just announced Just Walk Out Technology and Apparel. They could easily start to do this thing in the same space with all their return items, where they then get that inventory accuracy and they can know what can be shipped and sold online. And so when that day comes, look out, TJX, because I think it's coming, and I think it's going to be here within the next 3 to 5 years too. Would be my prediction.
Bold prediction. Truett, where do you fall on this?
I agree with what's been outlined by Chris and Dave. And Home Goods, it's their core competency in the treasure hunt in stores, and they've proven that they can drive growth without the e-commerce business, plus 8% on a comp sales basis. And I would just say continue to focus on your core competencies and open stores and drive growth that way versus focusing on the digital business.
So I don't know that there's much that I would add outside of, I don't think saying it's impossible. It is possible. Now, whether or not that's going to be a profitable endeavor after the things that Truett had called out, where, is this really what's going to move their bottom line? Probably not. Is Amazon going to come in and eat their lunch if they can get this figured out? Debatable.
Yeah, right. Debatable is a good point.
I think that it comes down to are we going to start having manufacturers RFID tagging things. Like this is not just an issue in this treasure hunt experience in the home goods area, but also for other things. Like if we want resale to take off in the future, like the visibility to what is in stores, I think has to be an investment that's made at the manufacturer and retailers end to make sure that, you know, this process can be as seamless online as it is offline for a retailer like Homegoods. So not impossible, just is it part of the investment that they're willing to make?
Yeah, I would say it's impossible right now.
Yes.
Under the current technological strengths of how a
Yes.
retailer, particularly TJX, is doing its business.